Welcome to another episode of No Planet B. Situated in the heart of the Deccan Plateau, Bengaluru has emerged as the most vibrant city in the country. From high-intensive economic activity centers to mass transit corridors, this continues to accelerate the pace of urbanization in the city and its peripheries. Let's find out more about the people, places and urbanization in Bengaluru from Pravar Chaudhary. After graduating architecture from NIT Calicut, he has since worked in urban design, construction, policy, tech and education. He is from Bengaluru and is obsessed with sharing stories of how people experience the city through his Instagram page, Banga Walks. I'm so happy to have Pravar with us today. Let's welcome him to our show.
Hi. Hi.
Welcome to our podcast, No Planet B. Pravar, around 4 years ago, you started the Instagram page, Banga Walks, where you share the everyday life in Bengaluru through an inquisitive lens of an urbanist. So my question to you, Pravar, is what makes Bengaluru so special to you? And also, what inspired you to start sharing these stories for the rest of the world to see?
Okay. So, firstly, I grew up here, right? I went to school in Bangalore and I really enjoyed my school time in Bangalore, right? I used to go to school by van, then we'd come back by bus. And there were a lot of these little lanes that you could walk, a lot of trees. And so I have like fond memories of my experience as a child in Bangalore. And I think like if you speak to any old people, actually, they will say this, that in my day, Bangalore was kick-ass. So I think that is definitely there. A little bit of nostalgia for like 2000s ka Bangalore. Then I think also, you know this, Akshay and I had gone for that internship in Madrid, right? So
Yeah,
I think when we went for that internship, I was seeing a developed country for the first time in my life. And I think that was also like a really interesting experience. Like we joke about how that was what radicalized me, right? Because suddenly you can see like a city that's so happening, but is also so safe for people and so live all the time. And I never used, I think, a car once in my time there. It was either the bus, the train, or mainly walking, which I really enjoyed. So I think when I came back to Bangalore, there were a bunch of other things. I did college, I worked in a few places. Then I came back to Bangalore in 2018, and since then, it's been on my mind, like what I'm trying to figure out what is wrong with Bangalore. No, but wrong is not the right word here, right? What can be done to make Bangalore better? What can be done to make Bangalore more like cities in the developed world? Right? So on my mind, and then just trying to figure out what's happening right now is why I started this page. I would start by like, I'm trying to cross the road and I find it difficult. So then I would take a video of someone else trying to cross the road and facing the same difficulty, right? And just to see what it looks like, to show other people what that looks like. And yeah, I think that's how it started. And we're still figuring it out. I think I would be very wary of this word urbanist. I used it only because it's like vague enough to kind of cover what little stuff I do. But yeah, that's the backstory.
Pravar, I have to tell you something. So I was working in Jammu for some time, and a friend of mine, she is obsessed with your Instagram page, and you have inspired her to start an Instagram page on similar tone on how Banga Walks is, but it's based out of Jammu. And she was so excited that, oh, I finally get to see the person behind the page. Like, I'm pretty sure she's watching us right now. So recently you launched the documentary series Bengaluru 2050. And the first episode is titled The True Cost cost of water. And I had watched the video and wonderful insights on how the entire water supply and sewerage system works in Bengaluru. And I'm looking forward to your upcoming episodes. So, Pravar, I'm curious to know whether there were any misconceptions you had regarding the water situation in Bengaluru prior to working on this video.
Yeah, so I think I talk about it in the video as well towards the end.
Yeah.
Where I think one of the big misconceptions that a lot of people in Bangalore have about water supply is that there is a shortage of water, right? I think especially maybe 4-5 years ago, around, if I'm not wrong, 2015, 2016, Cape Town was having that 0-day thing, right? Where Cape Town, it was a big news piece at the time. Cape Town was going to run out of water and eventually did run out of water, where water stopped coming in the municipal water supply. I don't know what happened after that, but when that was happening, they were also talking about how Bangalore is one of the top 10 cities where this would happen next, or something to that effect. So I think that narrative, at least in my head and in a few people that I spoke to, was still there to some extent. But what we found out in the research for the video is that actually we have a surplus of water. It's not Bangalore's water. It's not coming from geographically inside the city, but we still do have right now a surplus of water supply. Our population is roughly 1.5 crore right now. It could go up to maybe 2-3 crore in the next 20-30 years, right? But for those 2 crore people more, water supply is not the big issue that we need to figure out. There are a lot of other issues that we could focus on. So that was one big thing. Other small, adding it to cut short this answer is, I think, just the scale of the operation, right? The scale of distribution, the scale of the number of pipes, the size of the system, the volume of water that we use every day. 1,500 million liters per day is what we use. So that's a very big number, right? So I think all of that was fun to learn.
And that 60% of it comes from Kaveri. A lot of things were new revelations to me. Because I've shortly lived there in Bengaluru for 6-7 months. So for me, it was news to me to learn all this. So I'm pretty sure our viewers, if you have not seen it, please do check out the documentary True Cost of Water right after this episode, though. So my next question to you, Pravar, is more and more people choose to settle or migrate to Bengaluru every other day, and it adds to the existing stress on land and public amenities. And over the years, we have all seen this uncontrolled development around its peripheries, the city peripheries. So I'm curious to know your take on the whole situation, and who do you think is paying the price for the rapid urbanization in Bengaluru?
Okay, so I think urbanization, and I think that's important. I think urbanization is good, right? I think more people living closer together is a good thing. Like, we have better restaurants, you have more people living next to you, better amenities, because the demand is higher, right? So because of the market forces, urbanization, the services are really good, right? In Bangalore's case, like you said, I think the rapid part, it happened too fast. People, before they could realize what was happening and what they were doing, and this is not just the citizens, but like even the government is building flyover after flyover, not out of malice. They just don't know, right, that what the impact of these flyovers is. They're dealing with the stress of the increasing number of vehicles, and so they take quick decisions, hasty decisions. And I think so the speed part, that it happened too fast, is why Bangalore and most, I would say, developing country cities are a bit of a mess right now, because it happened in maybe like the last 30-40 years, right? And there are a lot of maps and stuff where you can see how much the city has grown. If I'm not wrong, Bangalore has grown in area like 1,000 times or some crazy number like that.
Yeah, I think I read. Yeah.
Right. So I think the stress that the city is facing comes from the speed at which this urbanization has happened. But urbanization in itself is a good thing. So right now, I think our people, our decision makers, our institutions are not, even today in 2022, not really working at the scale and the speed that urbanization is happening. They're always like 2 steps or 200 steps behind, right? So I think that is something that we need to work on. Paying the price, I think everyone's paying the price in one way or the other. But definitely, as with everything else, it's like the poor, the marginalized pay the most price, and rich people can kind of afford to pay the price. Yeah. So.
True. So I don't want to say this, but we are coming close to the end of the episode. So my final question to you is regarding the documentary series Bengaluru 2015. So Pravar, if you're headed to a safe, inclusive, well-planned, and like you mentioned, 200 years ahead systems, government systems and policies. Let's put it like this, the sustainable Bengaluru at 2050. What do you think is that one key factor that we need to focus on today?
Cool. So for this, I have a good answer, which is that I think one big thing, just like City Ordinary has mentioned in the comments, so is transport, but not transport like when I say that word, whatever's coming to your head, but I specifically have a slightly different idea of what would be nice, right? Which is that I think one of my favorite things about being in a city, one of my favorite things about being in a place of this scale, right, is to go to new places. Like in one lifetime, even if you go out every day to a new part of any city, Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, whatever, it is probably not possible for you to know the whole city, right? So every day you go out is a bit of an adventure. Even if it's the same route, there are different people and different things happening. So what I would like to see is for my transport within the city to happen more fluidly and to be more pleasant, right? And one of the big that we can do this is to create a good network of, and Bangalore is especially lucky like this because we have a lot of lakes scattered across the city, a lot of gardens scattered across the city, right? So to have like a network where all these lakes and gardens are connected, and I can go from Indranagar to Koramangala, walking along a lake in a garden, it is possible, right? But right now it is not really happening. And in places where like your journey is too long, then your walking trip is augmented by public transport, right? So when I have to make a journey, I don't need to use a car for that journey. I don't need to use a private vehicle for a journey because it is cheaper, it is more fun, it is more fast to use walking and public transport as my mode, right? So I think that is one big thing that not just me, everyone is talking about. And we are all like on the same page, like to cars being these evil things, and that we need to remove them from our city and give that place back to people.
Wonderful answer. I had no clue this was coming, but it makes completely sense. Like I've read somewhere, the rich city must be a place where the rich chooses the public transport. So it ultimately it comes to that. If a woman can travel safe at night to one part to the other, we have succeeded. We have reached somewhere. So thank you so much, Pravar, for this wonderful episode. And I'm so happy that I could interview you because you were one of the first seniors I met in NIT Calicut because we did a play together. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, I do, yeah.
Many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So, thank you so much, Pravar, for saying yes to my podcast. I had so much fun, and I'm sure our viewers did too. Thank you, Pravar.
Good, yes, glad to be here.
Okay, bye.
Bye.